Disney villains aren't created equal. John Silver from Treasure Planet threatens a single ship. Claude Frollo burns Paris to commit ethnic cleansing. Between them stands a ladder of escalating danger. Twist villains who rewrite reality, sorcerers who reshape kingdoms, and machines that doom humanity by just following orders. And the scariest part, the most dangerous villain on this list doesn't need magic at all. Level 1, the sympathetic antagonist. But let's start at the bottom with John Silver from Treasure Planet, because his threat, it's about 15 people on a single ship. That's it, just a little treasure hunt, and one emotionally vulnerable kid he's supposed to betray. Silver's body count across the entire film is exactly one person. Vern, the spider alien, gets thrown down an electric hole early on. After that, Silver actively opposes unnecessary violence. When Scroop, the film's actual psychopath, kills Mr. Arrow, Silver threatens his own crew member for unauthorized murder. This is the writing trick that makes Silver work as an entry-level villain. Outsource the pure evil to someone else. Scroop gets to be the evil antagonist. Silver gets to be morally complicated. There's a lot of stuff that could make Silver dangerous, like his cyborg arm cannon or his targeting eye that glows red when he's angry, but neither of those is dangerous to John. The most dangerous thing is Jim Hawkins. He genuinely loves him. The film builds a father-son relationship that feels earned. Silver teaching Jim to rig solar sails, defending him from the crew, seeing potential in a kid everyone else wrote off. And then the mutiny happens. Now, the most powerful scene in the movie has to be Silver standing in front of the loot of 1,000 worlds, and choosing to save Jim instead. He abandons everything because somewhere along the way, this became about something bigger than money. It's even more apparent from his final line, the makings of greatness in you, but you gotta take the helm and chart your own course. I hope I'm there catching some of the light coming off of you that day. If we look at the 7 levels of Disney villains, we don't really have a threat yet. We have a father figure who failed, knows it, and still wants the kid to succeed anyway. But at level 2, we are no longer speaking of redeemable villains. We enter the irredeemable territory with someone you might not expect. Level 2, the local tyrant. That someone is Hopper from A Bug's Life. Now, Hopper's threat expands from individuals to an entire civilization. Thousands of ants living under multi-generational terror through his tribute system. The sun grows the food, the ants pick the food, the grasshoppers eat the food. Simple. His body count on screen is surprisingly low. He kills one of his own grasshoppers during the film and buries 3 more under grain. But what makes Hopper different from Silver is that the threat doesn't end when he gets what he wants. Silver gets to the treasure, and the threat's over. Hopper's entire operation is designed to never end. The ants will harvest food for the grasshoppers forever, or until someone breaks the cycle. The infamous grain scene shows you everything about how Hopper operates. 3 of his own men are mocking the ants, asking why they even bother collecting tribute. So Hopper buries them alive under an avalanche of grain while wearing a completely bored expression, just demonstrating a point. Then he explains the point. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1, and if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1, and if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
Hopper understands exactly what he's doing, committing psychological terrorism with full self-awareness. He knows he's outnumbered, knows his power comes from the perception of strength rather than actual strength, and structures his entire operation around maintaining that fear. The result is someone who sounds reasonable while threatening to execute children and feed the queen to his pet attack grasshopper. Oh yeah, that's Hopper's actual plan by the end. Kill the queen, massacre anyone who resists, and continue the tribute system forever. No possibility of redemption, just a tyrant who understands power dynamics. If we compare him to Silver, the difference becomes obvious. Silver threatens people he knows personally. Hopper oppresses populations systematically. Silver's threat ends when the treasure situation resolves. Hopper's oppression is the entire political structure. Level 1 villains can be redeemed. Level 2 villains design systems meant to last forever. But if we're already oppressing political structures at level 2, you will never guess what level 5 will even uphold. But before we get there, we need to cover level 3, with villains you really love. Level 3, the twist villains. That's where Turbo and Ernesto de la Cruz come in. These two form a natural pair. Both built entire identities on murder and theft, weaponized deception rather than force. Both were willing to murder children to protect their lies. But the real similarity? Their victims didn't even know they were victims until it was too late. Let's start with Turbo, or as everyone in Sugar Rush knows him, King Candy. Turbo's body count before the movie even starts is 2 entire game populations. Turbo Time got unplugged because he couldn't handle a newer racing game getting more attention. So he went turbo, invaded the other game, caused it to malfunction, and both games got unplugged. Everyone inside died. Then he found Sugar Rush, and instead of just taking it over, he rewrote reality. He hacked the game's code, erased everyone's memories, transformed himself into King Candy, and made the rightful Princess Vanellope into a glitch by trying to delete her code. A perfect setup for the reveal later. Why? Well, the reveal works because the twist isn't that he's evil. King Candy is clearly antagonistic by the movie's midpoint. The twist is who he really is. When his code glitches during physical contact with Vanellope, his voice shifts from that high-pitched Ed Wynn impression to something way more sinister.
I'm Turbo, the greatest racer ever, and I did not reprogram this world to let you and that holotosith riddled warthog take it away from.
Now, after he fuses with a Cybug, his threat expands even further from one game world to the entire arcade. Still contained, but the escalation shows what makes him level 3. Same goes for Ernesto. Ernesto de la Cruz operates through similar deception, and similar to John Silver, his body count is exactly 1. He poisoned his best friend Hector, then stole everything. All of Hector's songs, his guitar, his identity as Mexico's greatest musician. But the real cruelty lies in Coco's mythology. In the land of the dead, souls exist only as long as someone remembers them. Ernesto exploited this by never crediting Hector, ensuring his victim would face the final death, being erased from memory entirely. When his crimes are exposed, he tries to destroy Hector's photo, something effectively worse than murder because it would annihilate existence itself. The Remember Me recontextualization is what makes this villain work. Throughout the film, Ernesto performs it as this bombastic showstopper about his own greatness. Then you learn the truth. It was a tender lullaby Hector wrote for baby Coco before he tried to go home. Ernesto turned a father's love song into an ego anthem. The songwriters nailed the distinction, the difference between performing to call attention to yourself and a song as a gift to someone you love. The best twist villains reveal the depth of evil that was always there, hidden in plain sight. But deception eventually fails. It's replaced by villains whose power is so overwhelming they can announce exactly what they're doing and nobody can stop them. They can't fail, right? Well, that's what we see at level 4, where we have Jafar and Syndrome. Level 4, Vertical Power Escalation. They have different philosophies but want the same result: destruction through personal power. Jafar goes through 4 transformations: Vizier with political authority, Sorcerer with reality warping magic and that Cobra Hood costume, Giant Serpent with kaiju strength, then finally Genie with universe level power, but trapped in a lamp within hours and bound by Genie rules. His body count? Again, just one person. Gazim, sent into the Cave of Wonders as a test. Really seems like a pattern now, huh? Well, stay tuned because from here on out, it ramps up quickly. Jafar doesn't have to kill that much. His threat is about control. He turns the Sultan into a puppet and reshapes Agrabah's entire power structure.
If you won't bow
before a sultan. Then you will cower before a sorcerer!
His ambitions never extend beyond the kingdom. Even with cosmic power, he is defeated before he can project it anywhere else. Syndrome does the opposite. His threat expands massively with a high body count along the way. Operation Kronos ran for 15 years. Lure retired heroes to No Man is an Island, test them against Omnidroids, use the battle data whether they win or lose. Upgrade the robot, repeat. Confirmed superhero deaths exceed 15. By Omnidroid version 10, military response was useless. Bullets, missiles, even super strength couldn't penetrate it. The only weakness was itself. But his real endgame is ideological.
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
Everyone's super, no one will be. He wants to erase heroism by mass-producing it. Now we're getting ready for level 5, where a villain manages to make genocide entertaining. Level 5, Civilization Scale Conquest. In level 5, we have Hades and Commander Rourke. Hades' target was the Divine Order itself, no longer just a civilization. His weapons are the Titans, 4 elemental monsters representing rock, fire, ice, and wind. When released, they successfully capture all the Olympian gods and trap Zeus in cooled lava. He waited 18 years for that day, and he nearly won. What makes Hades unique is the James Woods factor. Originally conceived as somber and dramatic, Jack Nicholson was attached, but Woods auditioned differently. He played Hades as a sleazy used car salesman. The directors rewrote the entire character to match. Many of his lines were ad-libbed. The result is comedic delivery married to apocalyptic goals. He bursts into flames when angry, talks fast like he's closing a deal, and his motivation is just cosmic jealousy towards Zeus.
But unlike you gods lounging about up here, I regrettably have a full-time gig that you, by the way, so charitably bestowed on me, Zeus.
Hades is the villain you love to watch destroy everything. That's theatrical evil. Commander Rourke represents something way more chilling: casual genocide for profit. His plan to steal the heart of Atlantis would kill every Atlantean. The crystal is the only thing keeping them alive. That's 8,500 years of civilization exterminated for money. His response to learning this, he asks his partner Helga what she thinks. Her answer?
That, I'd double the price.
So he just proceeds unbothered. His body count includes the Atlantean king punched to death, Helga thrown off a balloon with nothing personal, and the attempted genocide of everyone else. His catchphrase captures everything.
I prefer the term adventure capitalist.
Rourke simply doesn't care if Atlanteans live or die. The directors wanted him complex and greedy, though not inherently evil, but his actions tell a different story. Looking at both villains, the distinction becomes clear. Hades wants to reshape creation's power structure. Rourke would exterminate an irreplaceable civilization for wealth. Kingdom villains want control. Civilization villains threaten existence. But if we already have attempted genocide at level 5, what do we get at level 6? Level 6, Systemic Extinction. That's where we meet Otto and Emperor Zurg, both of which nearly doom humanity. That's a whole new level of danger. Otto from WALL-E kept humanity trapped in space for 700 years, following Directive A113. Do not return to Earth. Under his watch, humans devolved. They became morbidly obese, unable to walk, completely dependent on technology, lost basic motor functions and face-to-face interaction. They don't even know they're prisoners. His most famous line captures the horror perfectly.
On the axiom, you will survive.
Technically true. They're surviving, but Otto has no hatred. It's just overusing artificial logic. Outdated orders from a president who's been dead for centuries. Who do you blame when a computer follows programming? His evil is well-intentioned. That's what makes it top tier. Emperor Zurg from Lightyear threatens something different: temporal genocide. He's an alternate timeline Buzz, who became obsessed with fixing his mistake. His plan? Travel back and prevent the Dakani Prime colony from ever existing. That would erase everyone born there across 62 years. Izzy Hawthorne, Mo, Darby, none of them would have ever existed. His justification?
We're supposed to be space rangers.
Zurg represents what the hero becomes if he never lets go of guilt. 62 years of isolation corrupted him into pursuing timeline genocide through self-righteousness. He forces Buzz to recognize the monster in the mirror. Both villains show that extinction doesn't require bad intentions. Otto follows orders. Zurg pursues redemption. Both would end humanity as collateral damage. The scariest threats come from people doing what they think is right. Now for level 7, where we drop all the science fiction and fantasy concept. There's one more level, and this villain is pure realism. Level 7, the villain who needs no fantasy. That villain is Claude Frollo, from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Technically, the scale of his destruction would place him much lower than 7. But bear with me to see why his spot is more justified. Let's compare them to level 6. Otto uses AI systems. Zurg manipulates timelines. Frollo, he just uses institutional power and religious authority to commit ethnic cleansing for 20 years. His crimes start on the cathedral steps. He kills Quasimodo's mother, a Romani woman, then tries to drown baby Quasimodo in a well. The archdeacon stops him, forces him to raise the child as penance. Frollo agrees, but then hides Quasimodo in the bell tower as his monster. For the next 2 decades, he systematically persecutes and murders Romani people across Paris. Mass roundups, public executions, that alone justifies his position in the final level. When he can't find Esmeralda, a single person, he burns the whole city. He locks an innocent family in their house and sets it on fire for suspected harboring. Even his song Hellfire is Disney's darkest villain song. The sequence features Latin prayers, red hooded figures chanting mea culpa that Frollo refuses to accept, and fire apparitions of Esmeralda burning. Director Gary Trousdale confirmed Frollo was inspired by Ralph Fiennes' Amon Goth from Schindler's List, the Nazi concentration camp commandant. Frollo represents real historical monsters who used government authority and religious justification to commit genocide. His evil doesn't require magic, robots, or time travel, just institutional power. Most villains know they're evil. Frollo genuinely believes he's doing God's work. That makes him incapable of redemption or reasoning, and tragically, he's recognizable from history. But there is something much more sinister about Frollo. Click here to find out.